Oh, we're there. We're here. We're everywhere. How are we all? Are we ready and raring to go? Oh, it feels... last Friday I came on, I was like buzzing. I was buzzing. I don't know. This Friday doesn't feel like a Friday. It's not quite hit that Friday feeling yet for me. It's not quite got that Friday va-va-voom about it. In the words of Thierry Henry, I think it was that football advert where he's like, yeah, this has some va-va-voom about it. But it is a Friday stream, ladies and gentlemen, so we are ready, raring to go. We've got some Formula 1 to talk about. We've got some videos to watch. We've got a tier list to do as well. We are going to be ranking the 2023 season. The Formula 1 calendar has finally been signed, sealed, delivered. And therefore, I think we have to kind of have a little think and have a little look at the Formula 1 calendar. Decide on which races are actually worth watching. We all know Formula 1 can have its ups and downs over the course of the season. And because we've got this full 2023 schedule, we'll have a little look through it. And then we'll break it down a little bit later into a tier list as well. Shall we have a little look at the calendar? Just a little preview, a little dabble, a little taste of what is to come. So this is the Formula 1 calendar as it stands. Obviously, we know that this to be concluded, is it to be concluded? TBC. Maybe. We know that this is no longer actually to be. We will just have 23 races. China is off. No China for us this year. We've had enough of China. They don't want Formula 1 back. Very strict COVID rules, I feel, are still in place, which is absolutely fair enough. They want to, keep their country safe from that kind of thing. That is absolutely perfect. But does mean that we miss out on another Formula 1 race. I'm sure that actually the drivers, engineers, everyone around Formula 1 is probably a little bit happy about the fact that they don't have to do 24 races. We're kind of ramping it up one at a time, right? We're like slowly getting there. I know that the maximum they've kind of talked about is like 25, 26. And I feel like that is probably coming. But at least we are coming slowly up to that rather than to be confirmed. Yeah, that does make sense. To be confirmed. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you. I promise I have at least a moderate education. Some a little. Not loads, but a little. But yeah, we've got the full calendar now. This is no longer to be confirmed. It is just off of the calendar, which does mean we have a massive gap between Australia and Azerbaijan, by the way. United States coming up, a little bit of a gap to Italy. Then we go to Monaco, have our little sort of semi-European stint, 3 races. Then back to the US, then back to Europe again for the longer European stint. Back to Singapore, Japan, Qatar, US, Mexico, Brazil, United States again before Abu Dhabi at the final. I think it's a good calendar. I actually quite like this calendar. It's missing a couple of races for me. I'm 50-50 on the whole France being gone. I did quite like France. I know that France is like a little bit controversial at times for some people. Like some people love France, some people hate France, some people love the fact that it has the blue lines and stuff. Other people hate the fact that it has the blue lines and red lines and so on and so forth. I remember talking to Cars with Connie. He said it gives him a headache, bless him. But I'm actually okay with France going. I was a little bit disappointed when it first went, but now I've kind of seen the calendar, kind of got over the fact that France is gone. I think it's okay. I think it's not going to be like one of the really heavy races that I'm going to miss. It's not in my top 5. Not looks. Who's annoyed about China is Joe. That's very true, yeah. So pretty frustrating for Joe that he's not going to get a home Grand Prix. He does deserve one, doesn't he, as well? I think that's another problem. He does deserve one. He's been so good. And I don't know how long he's going to stick around, obviously, with the fact that they are changing it up very, very soon, right? Audi coming in. What are they going to be able to do in that meantime? We'll have to kind of wait and see. But yeah, Joe, I feel a little bit sad about. Never. But then I suppose you could say the same about like Mick Schumacher, because Germany was on the calendar for so long, and Germany is like so synonymous with Formula 1, and yet that's not on the calendar anymore. So Mick Schumacher never got a home Grand Prix. There's lots of drivers that never get home Grand Prix, but I feel like when you're in one of those big countries that has been on the Formula One calendar before or has been part of the Formula One calendar for a long time, it sort of hurts that little bit more, doesn't it? Just digs in that little bit more that you're not going to be able to have yourself a home Grand Prix. Las Vegas looks like an upside down pig. Does it? Does it? Oh, yeah. It kind of does look like an upside down pig. It'll be interesting to see how the Vegas track kind of goes, right? We'll kind of get to that a little bit later when we discuss Vegas in a little bit more detail. But I don't know about Vegas, you know. I don't know about Vegas. The thing that fans criticize the order of the schedule must remember weather is a huge factor. That is very true. But also, like, weather's a huge factor, yes. But I feel like we could be a little bit, you know, just a touch more... I don't know even know what the word is. Economical. A touch more economical with our backwards and forwards. Like, it does take a very, very long time to get between some of these countries. Hello, Cars with Connor, mate. Mate, I need to get you on one of these streams. It's on the list. It's on the list. I've even got a stream in mind that I want you here for. So keep your eyes peeled. But I'm just getting into the rhythm of it. We're still early in the 2023, nearly said 2022, 2023 rigmarole of things. Golly gosh, can't wait for this stream. Appreciate it. Thank you. Update your lingo just a touch. Just a touch. Well, yeah, we're going to break down the Formula One calendar. But that's a little bit later on. So if you haven't been to one of these streams before, we kind of just chit-chat for the first hour or so. We watched a couple of videos. There's a couple of videos that I haven't been able to watch this week. It's basically an opportunity for me to watch some videos that I haven't had the opportunity to watch earlier on in the week because we've all been working hard, playing hard, and then we come into the stream together, and none of you guys have watched it either because you're all working hard and playing hard during the week. But then it's Friday. The Friday feeling comes along, and we get ready to roll. Do you prefer Jeddah at the beginning or end? Ooh, that is a good question. That is a good question. I think at the beginning it makes a little bit more sense. Just again, like geographically, maybe it makes a little bit more sense at the beginning. I do think it also gets the season off to a little bit of a bang. Bahrain can be a little bit as a first race of the season, especially because they get to do their testing there too. Like we saw the last year, Bahrain, if you look at the pace of the cars in Bahrain compared to the pace of the cars like 6 races later, doesn't really give you like loads of information. Gives you enough. Like you could see that Red Bull and Ferrari were going to be the best. You could see that Mercedes were going to kind of be in and amongst it. Alfa Romeo then dropped off a cliff. McLaren kind of rescued what looked to be a really bad first race. Like it gives you a little bit of an idea. But the season develops so much. And it's a long season. It's a long season, lads. It's starting in March. And when's the final race? Is it still November or is it December again? It's just it's November 24th to 26th. So like is a long old season that we've got ourselves in for. I think the testing is like at the end of February. Yeah, 23rd of Feb. So we're February through to the end of November. It's a long season. Lots of things happen. But we'll be kind of discussing the tracks that are coming up and the things that we want to watch out for. Which races are good, which races are bad, which races are kind of somewhere in the middle. Because there's always somewhere in the middle with all of these things, right? There's always some in the middle. Anyway, should we delve into some videos together? Haven't got lots of news from this week. Not a lot has happened. What has happened? Not a lot. This week's kind of gone on a bit. It's been a long week. I was working until 1 a.m. this morning and then got up at 6 a.m. to go to work. Like, that is how my job has been this week. So it's been non-stop, lads. It's been absolute carnage. Played a bit of football earlier. Really hurt my finger, which like doesn't show on the camera and makes me look like an absolute wimp. But I got kicked, right? So how does this happen in football, right? How does this happen? When the ball is played with your feet, how have I got this injury? Well, I was in the midfield. I was picking up the ball. It's coming towards me. Of course it is. Because, you know, I'm an Iniesta style player. I like to pick up the ball in the middle, give it a little bit of a spin, and look at my options. Look at my where are my options? What are we doing, lads? But it comes over to me, and it's like looping down. So I kind of like put my hands out, obviously, to balance. And somebody decides to try and like volley the ball, even though I've like very obviously kind of got it in the path and it's coming down in front of me. Someone like barges through me, tries to volley the ball. Instead of volleying the ball, volleys my left hand. Really, really painful. And like, I'm not sure I'm ever going to recover from it. I think it's going to be one of those ones that like bruises a little bit, like round the knuckle. Every time I like open and close it, it goes like, oh, you know what I mean? When you just get that feeling, you're like, oh, that shouldn't feel like that. That shouldn't feel like that. And also, I click my knuckles quite a lot. And I feel like I'm going to accidentally try and click it. And that is going to be the worst thing in the world. Because I feel like if I rotate it in any way, it already hurts when I move it up and down. If I try and dislodge that, rotate it in any way, that's going to be absolutely horrendous. Have I seen the Vegas GP video? Although scripted, it shows how good the race could potentially be. I have not. I have not. Shall I have a little look for that? Should we have a little look for that? That might be interesting. As a little watch for this one. Let's get going. What is it? Miss... Nope, that's not how you spell that. Yeah, exactly. I just don't know. It's the middle finger as well. So it's involved in everything that I do. If I'm typing, if I'm picking something up. I was riding my bike home and I realized that I actually brake and put a lot of effort into the brakes using my middle finger. And I could not today. Just really, really not feeling that one. Which was interesting. But there we are. Hello, Jamie, mate. How are we doing? Hope you're well. Hope you're enjoying your week. I was looking for a Las Vegas video. What are we looking for? Shall I show you my recommended? This is where my recommended is at. Just in case you're interested. A little bit of stands. Diary of a CEO. Got into that recently. Russell Howard, absolute legend of the game. Football Daily. I watch their Sunday Vibe stuff. Not a lot. Gotta stop flipping people up. Look, my middle finger is really hurting, Connor. I can't help it. That'll go. Las Vegas. This one? 2022 Las Vegas Grand Prix race highlights. Oh, is it a sim? Formula One's return to Sim City produces a full race. I have no idea who this guy is. How have I not ever come across this man in my life? I watch a lot of Formula One content. How have I not come across this? The new Las Vegas layout with the updated chicane. Should we have a little look? It's a bit of a detour. It's not the first video I was going to go to today. But I am actually interested. I'll go on then. Let me turn this music off. We'll take a little detour. A little detour. Oh, I say that. My computer's just having a small meltdown. Small meltdown. Can we hear it? Probably not. Let me turn it up. Just a touch. I feel like it might just be car sounds. But there we are. Ooh. How has he simmed this? How has he simmed this? Not sure. Feel like CF Racing would be all over this. CF Racing, what would a Coca-Cola Formula One car look like round the F1 2023 Las Vegas circuit? Bang. 50k views. Easy. Little cheeky. Okay, so this is I am worried about this first corner. I know that we've stopped it early. I'm a little bit worried about this first corner, mainly because it just looks quite slow. And then there's a lot of really fast-paced parts of this track. Although there is a chicane, as we said, as we have seen from this title. I feel like just like really, really slow corners kill a circuit. The Mexican Grand Prix is the one for me. Like, it's actually quite a good track up until the stadium section. So slow, and I know it's for safety, right? There's people literally surrounding the track, but it's so incredibly slow. It just kills any kind of momentum that you're carrying, and you basically start again. It just basically wipes the lap up to that point, and it's like, and now start another lap completely afresh with no momentum carrying from your previous lap, depending on how good or bad that was. Doesn't matter, because everybody is now on a clean slate coming into this chicane, and it just doesn't really work for me. So I'm hoping that this chicane won't be the same as that. Love the crypto.com. Not sure, considering every single crypto brand is now, like, gone off Formula 1 cars. Another big straight. Hard left, though. Hard right. I know my left and right. It doesn't look too bad, you know. It's this chicane I'm worried about. No, it's not terrible. It's not like the slowest chicane in the world, if this simulation is, like, close. Fairly quick. I don't know. I feel like it might be another one of those tracks where, like, Williams seem good because they just have ridiculous straight line speed. Like this. This is like Azerbaijan, but to a next level, right? We're just carrying so much speed the entire way around. And then this is the heavy left that I was thinking of. Because, you know, left and right. Oh, you're going to see people carry so much speed through that. That corner basically doesn't exist, does it? Like, even though that's kind of like a mini chicane, that corner just doesn't exist. Like, coming off of this straight, you're going to see so many people just rattle across this curb. I'm kind of a little bit worried. They need to make sure that this curb, like this is fine. It's the curb on the right-hand side that's coming up. They need to make sure that this curb is not too bobbly. I know it's there to obviously slow you down a little bit. If this was just straight again, the amount of speed you'd carry through here would be insane. Like, at least you have to, like, rotate that little bit further, right? But at the same time, this is like a hazard. I feel like people are going to think about this coming in and just bobble over it. You know, like Charles Leclerc when he got air at Imola last year. Same here. We're just going to see loads of cars, like, bumping over this at ridiculous speeds. Yeah, they're going to cut that as close as they can. Like, as close as they can. At the pit entrance. I quite like that pit entrance. A little bit scary, though, depending on, like, the angle of it. And then we're back. Okay. Oh, wow. He even... Who is this guy? Why does he have literally the Formula 1? He's just like, you know what? The Formula 1 guys, they got it right. And I'm not going to mess with the system that the Formula 1 people have come up with. Therefore, we're just going to literally copy their branding. I enjoy that. That's pretty good. I quite like it. First glance, I quite like it. Second glance will be obviously in real life and whether or not we will sort of see them in the future, whether or not we will be able to actually get a good race. I think that's the thing, right? As good as a track maybe looks, if we don't get a good race out of it, I'm not really too bothered, if I'm honest. I just want entertaining races and for Lando Norris to win. That's basically where I'm at. I want entertaining races and Lando Norris to win. And that's all. Looks like a mini Singapore sling. Ooh, yeah, that's true. And I liked the Singapore. Wow. Am I really going to sit here and pretend that I don't enjoy the Singapore Grand Prix track when I was given the option by an advertiser, Formula Neon, if you'd like one, link in the description, and use my code NAF1, 10% off. But I was given the option of literally any of the tracks for the 2023 season, 2022 season. I don't know if they've got Las Vegas yet, but I was given my choice of any track, and I picked Singapore. I can't sit here and pretend I don't like Singapore, which maybe makes me a little bit biased coming up later when we discuss the Formula One tracks and which ones are going to be worth watching this year. But I do have a couple of Formula One videos I do want to watch. First one's not really a Formula One video, more of a vlog. Basically, Charles Leclerc has been on holiday. There he is, bless him. He's been on holiday, and I like that Charles Leclerc has got the kind of YouTube vibe going. I did look at his channel. It's very on and off. It's very much like Charles Leclerc is just fancies making a YouTube video every now and then. It's kind of the vibe that he's got going. But I'm down for it. I'm absolutely down for it. I don't mind it whatsoever. If he's going to show off. I think the last Charles Leclerc video I watched was the summer break, where it was him like on his yacht and then climbing a small mountain in Monaco. And I was like, yeah, that seems like a pretty decent time you've got yourself going there, Charles. The race highlights show a freeway battle into one corner you were talking about between Max and the Scuderias. Yeah, I think that's the one, right? Right at the end of that really long straight. That's probably also going to be the DRS zone, I'd imagine. Or maybe there'll be 2 or 3 DRS zones. Definitely 2, maybe 3 DRS zones in Vegas, I reckon. Probably only 2 because it's a street circuit. And I don't think they'll want to go too mental. But possibly 3. 2 or 3 possible DRS zones. And yeah, that seems like the corner to me. Like you come in really, really quick, like absolute top speed. Probably DRS in there as well. Then you have to sling it left and then bounce over the curb to the right and then go left again. Feel like that's going to be a bit of back and forth. We're going to see a lot of drivers pushed onto that bobbly bit of curb, and then we'll kind of have to wait and see as to whether the FIA deem that curb safe enough. I'm sure it's going to be like a moderately flat curb, but I have to kind of wait and see. Am I going to do a video with my predictions? Yes, I'm going to do it at the same. People get earlier and earlier with their predictions videos, you know. I did mine the first week of February last year, and that was kind of in the mix with everybody else. Everybody else kind of did theirs at the same time too. I've seen like 10 people throw out their 2023 predictions already, and we're not even like 2 weeks, 3 weeks into 2023 yet. I don't know. People just get... It was a little too early for me. It's a little too early. I like to see maybe a car or two before I just randomly throw out predictions. I feel like if you predict too early, like if you're predicting 2023 at the end of 2022, you're silly. Because there's no way you know. There's no way you know. Let's see the cars. Let's wait until they're released, you know. Let's actually have a little look at some aerodynamic parts, the way that these cars are going. And then we'll decide what's happening, what's good, and what's maybe not so. Anyway, should we watch this Charles Leclerc video? Because I do actually want to see this. Because he's winter training. It's Charles Leclerc. He's in the mountains. He's probably skiing. I think he was also climbing. I do follow him on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, again, link in the description. Well worth a follow. Sometimes I put reels out. La-di-da. Sometimes I show myself at the theatre. That's kind of all I do in my spare time. I go to the theatre and pretend that I have, I don't know, some kind of thought process that is beyond just looking at cars all of the time. Let's.
Another one. Oh, nice.
Just a good life in it, being a Formula 1 driver. Loud.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Dolomites, starting the training camp. We're already at the top. We did the first training this morning. It's something that I do every year with my team. This year there's Andrea, the legend, with his amazing sunglasses. Stile questo, eh?
Same lad.
Bellissimo. Grazie.
Same lad he was in Monaco with. What is... This guy's got the dream job. The dream job. Just wandering about with Charles Leclerc all the time. Fine by me. Sign me up. I can tell him to do some sit-ups. Excellent.
Antonio Fuoco, the legend, who is a friend since a long time. We're in the Ferrari Driver Academy together. There's Patrick, who is always taking us around here in the Dolomites, and Joris, that didn't come today because he wasn't feeling well enough to do that training. But it's something I do every year. I always enjoy being in Italy, and it's obviously the only time of the year where we have a bit of free time and where we can actually push hard to train for the season ahead. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy the few images we'll put together, and see you soon.
Is that not just the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? Cold, though. I don't know how I feel about cold holidays. I've never really done like a proper snow holiday. I suppose it's not a holiday. He's framing it as training. It's training. He's working hard, playing hard. But it's a holiday shot, you know.
Alors là, je dois avoir une sale tête là. Alors là, je vous le dis. On est comment au niveau style là? On est mieux ou?
Ouais.
Tu m'as pas l'air super con. Ouais, ça va pas du tout. Ah ouais, ça y a rien qui va là. Ça va être dur. Dio, che bello! Mi sento pronto. I love this helmet.
I was going to say, where are his gloves? I'm a glove fiend. I'm putting gloves on as soon as the weather is even moderately
But it
chilly.
should be fun. I'm not having the most fun at the moment. Minus whatever. Snowing like never before. Oh my god. Let's go! Ciao ragazzi, a dopo! Speriamo! Ciao!
He's a mad lad. This seems sick though.
How was it?
It was really nice. It was incredible. It's very cold though now. And I can't wait to be back at the hotel. But it was really fun.
Ready?
Ready? Not yet. I still need to wake up.
Still sleeping?
Still half sleeping. So.
Look at this gym. Look at this gym. How is this man? How is Charles Leclerc? Like, I know he's a very rich man. He lives in Monaco. But it's just insane. The life that these lads lead. I just don't even know. I don't even know what I'd do with this good a facility. You know what I mean? I don't just think... I don't know. I'm breathless. I'm speechless.
Hola! Training time. Now we are coming back from Christmas, New Year's Eve, so a bit more fat than normal. It's not too bad actually. I
had a big one.
haven't been too stupid during the holidays, but still.
You treat yourself to some fondue?
Yeah,
or
for New Year's Eve and for Christmas.
a raclette?
No, I didn't do that actually. I didn't. But a bit less sport than normal. But now it's intensive training, so it's all good.
What's
I
happening
feel
now?
like Charles Leclerc's in better shape than I'll ever
Stretching.
be in my entire life.
Abdominals.
Do you always stretch afterwards?
That's my weakness. I should do more, but we'll try and start doing it all the time now.
Andrea, is the workout the same during the season
No.
as off season?
This is different. You must work a lot. So during the season it's not easy because we have a lot of travel. So in this moment is the most important moment for the season.
And you see a change with Charles, like his mentality, or for this coming season?
Yeah. When you grow up, he changed a lot. Now he's a man. When we start, he's a kid.
Do you agree?
I feel like that was like a cheeky. Do you think he's got what it takes this season? Do you think he can get to the level? Do you think he can beat Max maybe per se? And he was like, he's a man. He's a man now. He's a man. I don't know what to say. Although, like, he's his trainer, right? Should definitely have just been like, nah, he's gonna smash Max, mate. He's gonna absolutely throttle Max. Max is dead.
When we started working together, I was 13 years old, so I agree, I was a kid.
Okay, maybe then, yeah, he was a child. Maybe he was a child at that point. That doesn't make
It's the only time
sense.
of the year where we have quite a lot of time to spend to train. The rest of the year is just all over the place, so it's basically all about maintaining your physical strength, but that's where you put really the hours in and that you can actually progress, and then it's all about maintaining it throughout the season. It was a busy day, so now time to relax, sleep early, and tomorrow morning, back at it.
Hello, Antonio, mate.
Morning.
There's Charles Leclerc
Good morning.
to start your
It's
evening.
too early for me. But it's okay. We are going to drive. We're going to have fun. Not training. We should be fun.
So we are in the middle of the training camp. Today is a bit of a different day where training is not the most important part. It's more about fun and relaxing because to just cut in half a little bit the 2 weeks where there's a lot of intense training. Now we are going to do some snow driving, so it should be fun.
I mean, I understand that they're professional drivers, right? But it does seem like every single Formula One driver in their off season just does some other form of driving. Like, I think there was a news story I read the other day about Sebastian Vettel. He's like retired from Formula One and is now thinking about doing like a rally championship. And I was like, I thought you retired from Formula One because you wanted to spend more time with your family, more time with your kids, not to just enter another racing series. That defeats the object, doesn't it? But they just can't help themselves. They cannot help themselves. Charles Leclerc has been out of a Ferrari for 25 minutes. He's into a snow car, and he's gonna go and do some snow driving. What is he in? Alfa Romeo? I missed it. Yes. His trainer hates it. His trainer hates it.
Done! The car is still intact, so it was fun. How was it back there?
A posto, no?
Ay, ay, ay.
Oh, a man in shorts in the snow. I've found that shorts in the snow kind of work, you know. I feel like it's not as cold as you think. It's not as cold as you... Next time it's snowing, chuck some shorts on. It's not as cold as you think.
Mamma mia! Io sono così.
Oh, he's rock climbing.
I've climbed twice. It's not like I'm a pro.
I love it.
Anything like
Not
it.
with my
but it's
hand
okay.
now,
We'll
but
see how it goes.
back in the day.
Mamma mia! Mamma mia!
Back before the injury.
Show us how it's done.
I do more bouldering stuff though. I don't like going this high up. I wouldn't want to go this high.
Dai Andre che adesso cadi! E là! No, 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 dai!
Would you consider this part of the camp, or is it more fun?
Probably more fun, but still active fun, so that's what we want. But the arms were dead today, so I haven't been very impressive, even though it's not my strength. But anyway, it's been fun.
Is it your first time watching hockey?
It is not my first time, but I don't understand much, to be honest. I just
That's me literally watching any sport other than Formula 1. I just sort of stare at the screen hoping it will give me faith in what I'm watching is good. But I never really know.
Capitano, vedi?
Getting mobbed.
How was it, Charles?
It was fun. It was really fun. I love it. Only thing is that Val Gardena is losing, so that's not great. Done for the day, and yeah, see you tomorrow early in the morning.
This is a great holiday. This is a good, like, lads holiday, you know what I mean?
Good morning.
I know it's training.
We're ready.
Solid holiday
New spot.
choice.
Same thing. I quite like ski touring. It's called that way. So we try to do it. We'll actually do it twice today, as we go to the restaurant tonight by ski touring. So that should be fun. Let's go.
I do like a walk, so maybe this would be for me. If it's not football or Formula 1, yeah, literally exactly the same, Josh, I'm going to be honest.
It's the best feeling.
I watch any other sport. I watched some rugby the other day, and I had no clue what was going on. Like zero idea.
To speak because I'm cold. But apart from that, all good. I feel good. Nice time to go back to the hotel, change the skis, and go again.
I just cannot relate to any of these things. This is what I've realized watching this video. It's like watching those like £1 million house tours. I'm just like, I cannot relate to any of the things that has happened in this entire 10 minutes and 25 seconds that we've seen so far. I've never been skiing. I'd love to, but I haven't got all this equipment. That's going to cost some moolah, isn't it? Unbelievable.
Another great morning.
Another one. Oh, nice. That looks how tiring the morning was, I guess.
What's happening?
We're doing some tests, but I'm not sure which test yet. It tells you many things. It tells you if you're balanced, whether you are stretched enough or not. And then we obviously do like the normal fat test, which is good after Christmas to just know how much I've been eating. But shouldn't be too bad this year, so it's fine.
Tutto bene?
Tutto bene.
How was the massage?
What is this always happening?
Wasn't really a massage, but no, it was good. I expected worse. It was the first time I did this kind of test. So let's see what comes out of it. Time to wake up.
Is it non-stop gym every day?
For a week like this, yes. There's a training camp, so we try to squeeze as much training as possible, because then once it's done, then the activities of pre-season starts, testing, quite a lot of media activities to prepare the launch of the new car. So not much free time anymore. So yeah, in a week like this, it's basically all day training. We try to fit some skiing also, some normal skiing, which is not part of the training, but we're still moving. So quite a bit of training. I'll be dead at the end of this week for sure.
And how do you keep your motivation?
Sure, there are some days that I'm not particularly happy to go training, but this life is part of the game. At the end, winning is what motivates me. And 2022 we didn't make it, but I'm planning to do it this year. So we need to be as prepared as possible, and training is part of it. You need to be fit inside the car, and we are giving the best just to be the best driver out there on the track. So that's what motivates me.
Has your mental changed from last year?
I think I mature every season that you do in Formula One. You learn new things. So you change as a driver. Whether there's a particular change where I was like, okay, this I need to change, not really. It's just small improvements. After every mistake you learn and you grow. And so yeah, I'm more mature, but there's not been a particular change.
Interesting. I agree with him though. I think last year was kind of like Max Verstappen's 2021. I know that Max won in 2021, so it's tricky to like draw that parallel. But I do think he needed a season. I think Charles needed a season where he was like close to the top, but not quite there, just to get a few of those mistakes out of the way. Like, he's done it now, right? He's made the mistake in Imola. He's made the mistake in France. He's had the team not quite be there for him. He knows what is expected of him now at like that upper echelon. He knows exactly what he needs to do to keep pace with the likes of Verstappen, maybe the Mercedes if they're back towards the top again. I feel like he needed 2022, and I'm actually very confident, more confident than I was in Charles Leclerc in 2022 for the 2023 season. I don't know if I'm more confident in the Ferrari setup, though. I don't think Binotto was the problem, I think is the thing. Maybe, they had to get rid of Binotto because Binotto leaving also moves on some of the backroom staff as well. But I feel like Binotto was actually very knowledgeable. Binotto knew what he was doing. Binotto had driven the team to where it was. And I don't know, Vasseur coming in, it's a wait and see kind of thing, isn't it? Whether Ferrari have kind of adapted enough with better reliability, with a better strategy team behind him, with a better overall Ferrari kind of setup behind him. I think he can be right up there. Whether that is the Ferrari that will be delivered is tricky.
We are going ski touring to the restaurant, so we burn the calories and then I can eat properly. I'm still gonna do the diet, but at least I burn some calories. And it's fun, it's something different. I've never done it by night, so we'll push.
Does seem pretty cool. I'd give it a go. Skeetering.
È quello?
Sì.
That is the most set-up shot I've ever seen in my life. But worth.
Success. It's done. It was cool. It was really cool. We couldn't see much, but with the little we saw, it was really nice. The temperature is perfect, but now I just can't wait to eat.
Bon appétit.
Merci. So guys, training camp is over here in Selva di Val Gardena. It's been incredible, loads of fun moments, but a lot of hard training as well, which is needed. 2022 has been a great year, but not good enough, and we have been training like never before to try and be as ready as possible for the 2023 season. I can't wait already to be back in the car. Not too many days left, so that's great. And yeah, thank you for your support, and I hope 2023 will be our year. See you soon on track.
I like it. I feel like he looks more confident He looks more confident in and of himself. Just, he gives me a better vibe this season. I know it's tricky because we obviously only see Charles Leclerc behind the scenes. Like Max Verstappen's not doing a vlog anytime soon. If anything, we'll just see Max Verstappen blow up because of all the what was it, the 24-hour race, just controversy. He was not a happy bunny. But I don't know, Charles he does look different. He looks energized. He looks better. I just really hope Ferrari can deliver a car. Ferrari's car, though, apparently, sort of little under the radar stuff that I've heard, seems to be really good. Like, really good, especially their engine. I know the engine was the problem last year because they had to dial it back. And then once they dialed it back, they were just never near the Red Bulls in the end, right? Like, they had that exceptional engine at the start of the season. It's by far and away the best package over the course of the first, let's say, 10 races, maybe. I would say that the Ferrari was the better package overall. But then you had the reliability issues start to sneak in, your Spains, your Azerbaijans, your Austrias. And then they had just had to dial the engine back. And it was a real shame because it just handed Max Verstappen the title effectively from that point. I think Charles Leclerc even said he gave up on the title from Spa onwards. When you're coming into that, it's like, it's not great, is it? It's not great at all. My prediction is that in the 2023 season, NA will change his channel profile picture to the channel logo. I read all the comments, by the way. I saw this comment before. I can't remember what video it was on, or whether it was on like a community tab or something. I just quite like my video, my picture. It's me in New York having a lovely time. Probably does need an update. It'll get an update at some point. Maybe I'll get like a photo taken. You know what I mean? At some kind of Formula One event, bits and pieces. Do you know if penalties for replacing power unit will still be the same? So far, I haven't heard anything different. To be fair, they're quite lenient. You get quite a lot of parts. I know it's 23 races, and lots of teams end up kind of taking 1 or 2 penalties across the season. I think they need to look at that, though. The fact that, like, especially the top teams, just doesn't affect them. Like, it doesn't affect them whatsoever. They're not bothered about the limit, right? They'd much rather just wait for a Grand Prix like a Monza, like a Brazil, something along those lines, and just take a penalty than actually try and stick to the regulations that are there, which is a bit meh, isn't it? They have a lot more wind tunnel time as well. That's very true. They still have a little bit of wind tunnel time, like lenience from that season that they finished in 6th, you know, which kind of has massively helped them coming into the 2022 regulation change. And I think that was why they had sort of an aero setup that worked straight off the bat. We had a lot of teams change their aero setup throughout the season. Ferraris didn't change massively. Like, if you look at Mercedes, they had to change lots of bits and pieces. They made lots of different changes to wings and side pods and so on and so forth, floors over the course of the year. Ferrari didn't do too much of that. They didn't change up like a crazy amount over the course of the season in terms of their aero. It was just that dialing back of the engine that really cost them. Hot take, Piastri beats Norris. In what world? Lando Norris is so good, man. So good. Like Ricciardo did to Vettel. I don't know. I know Vettel was a 4-time world champion at that point. There's no like argument that Lando Norris is better than prime Sebastian Vettel. It's absolutely not what I'm going to say. But for me, Lando Norris was the second best driver on the grid again last season. It went Max, Lando, Leclerc for me. And then you had like your Hamiltons, your Russells, your Sainzes, kind of just behind your Alonsos, your Vettels. But for me, Lando Norris, second best driver on the grid last season. And first season in Formula One for Oscar Piastri. After all of the controversy, all of the pressure that is now on him. I don't know. Cars are supposed to be slightly slower than last year. Yeah, new ground effect regulations, so the cars are slightly higher up. Again, I think it's all to do with that porpoising that we saw right at the beginning of the 2022 season. It kind of came down a little bit when the regulations changed. They changed the regulations just a little touch, right? Just to try and switch it around slightly during 2022, and it did had the correct effect. Like, we didn't see the Ferrari or the Mercedes like bobbling up and down like crazy. They were the main two for me that I kind of remember. I think it was Charles Leclerc, like very early in the season, just like really waving along down a straight. So they took that away, and then they've obviously got the opportunity now that it's the end of the season and they can make slightly bigger changes to fully just get rid of any of that ground effect problem that they had and get rid of any kind of porpoising that might happen because of that ground effect in its entirety. Effectively, they can just be like, no, going to do that. I think Lando will be consistent for Oscar, but I think he will do a very good job. I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful of Oscar Piastri. Do not get me wrong. I think he is an exceptional talent, and I think of the drivers available to McLaren, he's a very, very good pickup. A very, very good pickup. I think we tried Daniel Ricciardo and just didn't work. He couldn't adapt to the car, and the car couldn't adapt to him, because McLaren have such a set in their ways car. It's so tricky to drive. And I think what we saw with Alex Palou when he came in at the United States Grand Prix is that someone new to Formula One, or someone who maybe hasn't had that time in like lots of different Formula One cars, the McLaren car is probably the worst Formula One car to drive. Like, I don't think that's like crazy to say. I think the McLaren Formula One car is probably the worst Formula One car as a driving experience, because it has so many little niggles that you have to just nail. But if you haven't got any Formula One experience from before, like we saw in Alex Palou's case, because he came in for that United States practice and was exceptionally good. I know he wasn't like ridiculously rapid. He wasn't battering into the top 6 or anything like that, but he was very, very good and very, very quick, because it's the first Formula One car he's ever driven. He'd driven the 2021 McLaren car before, which had the same kind of idea behind it. I think he's good. I think he's good. What's up, mate? Had a small raid in the server. I really need to get back on Discord, you know. I just never use Discord at the moment. It's just like the last app that I check. I think it would be good if we had some Discord like input to these streams. So like when I'm trying to find videos to like watch and stuff, recommendations would be good, because I just keep finding more Formula One YouTubers that I've never heard of before. I think the space is so broad now. There is so many options for Formula One YouTubers out there. They just keep popping up, and the quality is good. The quality is very, very good. I do have one more video I wanted to watch though, which is Josh Ravel, an exceptional man, and he has done a video on the Monaco Grand Prix Diamond Mystery, and this is one of my favorite Formula One stories, and obviously I've seen maybe like 5 videos on it before, but I want to see another one, because it's just so funny to me that this happened. And if you don't know, I won't spoil it too much for you. It's a very, very very, very Formula One story, I feel. You know what I mean? Like, it could only ever happen in Formula One that there was a diamond on a Formula One car, and then chaos ensued. Do I think Tsunoda will beat De Vries? Ugh, it's going to be close, man. It's going to be so close. I actually really highly rate De Vries. Really highly rate De Vries. So I'm not sure. McLaren should have pulled a Red Bull, sacked Daniel Ricciardo during the summer break. I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. I still don't think we'd have finished 4th. For whoever we put in there. Because like, we wouldn't have been able to get Oscar Piastri, because he was still technically contracted for the second half of the season as an Alpine junior test driver. So like, we wouldn't have been able to get anyone in for like 6 months that would have been better than Daniel Ricciardo, I don't think. So I don't think we'd have been able to get to 4th place even without it. Lando Norris was fighting a losing battle, really. And Brazil was just kind of the nail in the coffin, right? when he had that crash with Leclerc and then had to DNF, and it was just, no. That was it. All done and dusted. By all means, ever since the USA has come in, they're popping off. Exactly. I think you should replace the new WTF1 cast. I haven't actually watched a WTF1 video since the news. I know I was literally about to start this video. I haven't watched a WTF1 video since the news. Are they good? Are they good, the new lads and gals? Apparently, isn't there a fifth one now? Isn't there a fifth one now all of a sudden? Like, when they first announced it, there was 4 new hosts, kind of replacing Matt and Tommy. And also, Matt and Tommy are doing their own thing. It is the year for, like... It is the year for Formula 1 YouTube kind of groups or conglomerates breaking up and kind of doing their own thing, isn't it? I feel like 2023 might have a little bit more of that. What was it the other day I saw? The True Geordie lads, right? So Rory, Makola, Boovy... that all used to be the kickoff alongside True Geordie and Lawrence McKenna. Those 3 have gone off and they're doing their own thing now as well. What was it called? The Club? I want to say the Club. Have WTF1 even made any videos since Matt and Tommy have left? They have. Is Drive to Survive good for Formula 1 9 hours ago? You know what? I'll give it a watch. It's got 15k views. For oh, their subscriber count has dropped a lot, hasn't it? Their subscriber count has dropped a lot. Where is the video where it's Matt leaving? They've gotten rid of the video. You know where it was like the video of Matt announcing that he was leaving WTF1? It's gone. It's actually gone. Look at this. It's gone. Wasn't it here? Daniel Ricciardo's return. No, it must have been after the 2022 funny moments. They got rid of it. Maybe because they've announced that they're doing their own thing. What was it? P1 or something? F1? P1? They're doing something on their own. I mean, it kind of makes sense that they would continue to work in Formula 1. They got WTF1 to where it is. I know it was owned by the race. Tommy made a mistake, man. I feel like he sold WTF1 2020, apparently. He sold WTF1 to, like, the race group. Maybe he was, you know... Maybe the money was just too good. You know what I mean? But I feel like WTF1 was his baby. It was his baby. He just let it go. I don't know if I could do that. I've never been in that situation. Can't say what I'd do, but WTF1 is quite mid now. I hope Daniel Ricciardo replaces Checo. Ugh. I don't think that'll happen. I know a couple of people have mentioned it. I don't think that'll happen. What made WTF1 from other Formula 1 YouTubers is that they have a lot of personality and engagement. But now WTF1 is more like any other Formula 1 YouTuber, very monotone. I feel like I slowly went down that path towards the end of 2022, though, to be fair. I feel like it's very tricky. It's very tricky to see lots of Formula 1 YouTubers getting exceptional amounts of success. For me, anyway, like, thinking that I'm doing the wrong thing. Like, I love this. This is my favorite thing to do. Just sit down, chat Formula 1 with you guys, make videos about things that I'm interested in, things that I like to discuss at that time. But, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't... There's a lot of other Formula 1 YouTubers that make content that is, like, very polished, very edited, very scripted, that doesn't really show any of their personality. And I think that shows because a lot of Formula 1 YouTubers, when they do try something new, it never works. Like, if they ever try, like, a different style of video, maybe they vlog or something, you know what I mean? It never works, and their audience isn't there for it because they're not really there for them. Whereas I'd much prefer a community where we're here for each other. Like, even if I wasn't here, I'd hope that you guys still would chat and be a community and continue to, like, enjoy Formula 1. I just kind of want to be the, I don't know, the catalyst for you guys having a chat with one another, basically. Compare a video from Tomo or Josh Revel to a video from like the race, for example. Yeah, exactly. There's a difference there, right? There's a personality behind it. There's a reason to get behind it. It's not just a news source. And I don't want to be just a news source, is what I sort of realized when I kind of stopped making videos for a little bit over Christmas. I was just like, why am I hating this now? Why do I not enjoy this as much as I did like 6 months ago? And then I kind of looked at the channel and I was like, okay, let's go back 6 months and look at what videos I was making. And they were just fun. Like they were just fun, and they were interesting, and there were things I liked at the time, as opposed to trying to jump on like the big news of the moment and try and have like this incredibly polished hot take that is edited to within an nth degree of its life. It's not me. I tried, I failed. I'm back to where I was. I take a step back to take a step forward. You know what I mean? Let's do the streams. Let's have a chat. Let's do some videos where bit of back and forth. Like the video I made this week, the Williams video about James Vowell, is what I want to make. I think a little bit of a step back, almost unedited chat. Not quite unedited. I took some of the ums and ahs out of it as I was thinking about points that I wanted to make. But that's where we've got to be, I think. That's where we've got to be. For me to be a happy boy. Should we actually watch this video that I hinted at like 10 minutes ago? Monaco Grand Prix. There was a diamond, and it was put on one of the Formula One cars, which already is a sentence is absolutely bonkers. And this is what happened.
2004 was a strange year for the Jaguar Formula One team. Like, really freaking strange. After getting rid of the yacht-flipping Irish playboy back in 2002, this team had been devoid of podiums, and even with young gun Mark Webber at the wheel, was still no closer to getting back on the podium as we are to finding world peace in 2023. They were being bankrolled by the Ford Motor Company the whole time, but eventually, the bewildered Americans tapped into the fact that spending millions upon millions to fund a Formula One team that doesn't actually promote your brand, at least not the one you care about, there wasn't much potential for return. The team needed to do better, which, considering drafting in racing legends Niki Lauda and Bobby Rahal into the team didn't really work, was not gonna be easy. Perhaps what was needed was more publicity. In getting that, you get more fans. And in getting that, you attract more potential sponsors. Thus more money, which could be used to upgrade the car's performances, thus keeping the damn team alive. That be the maths and the circle of life in Formula One. Now, one way to increase awareness for the team, at least for a moment, is something like a special livery, a one-off, to celebrate whatever it is they're celebrating. Hard for some of the team to celebrate when the powers that be are getting cold feet at the thought of advertising outside of the United States of freedom. But hey, here we are. These liveries were not especially common, but for film studios with way too much budget behind them, Formula One has...
I feel like this should also be more of a thing, like in the future. I know that Aston Martin kind of did a tiny little bit for the new James Bond film, but Red Bull had a Star Wars car at one point. Red Bull had a James Bond car at one point. Like, I want the full, proper, mad liveries back for like just a random one-off brand. They're just like, here you go. Here's a ridiculous amount of money. Promote our film or like our perfume. I don't know. What things are big that need advertising? Stuff. Here's something. Here's Netflix. Promote it.
It's been great for this kind of PR fecal matter. And back in 2004, Warner Brothers were getting set to release a sequel to the 2001 hit film, Ocean's 11, the imaginatively named Ocean's 12. The synopsis of this film? In a basic sense, it's about a heist, an attempt to steal the Imperial Coronation Fabergé egg to pay off debt to Andy Garcia, and to relieve George Clooney of his dependence on advertising Nespresso pods. With the ensemble cast attached to the film, the branding on an F1 car would be plenty good on its own, but oh no! It had to be run during the Monaco Grand Prix, the jewel in Formula One's crown. And hey, speaking of jewels, let's attach one to the nose of the car as part of the livery, an actual jewel. Well, okay, a diamond, not a jewel. Is there any difference? I mean, bugger if I know, this stuff is way too rich for my blood. What I do know, however, is that placing a $250,000 diamond on the most vulnerable part of a Formula One car, in the most accident-prone circuit on the calendar, is not the smartest idea conjured up by a human being.
Who had this thought? Who had this thought? I mean, I love it. It's so Formula One, isn't it? What can we have? Like the upper echelons of sport, the upper echelons of Monaco. How can we put like these two rich ridiculousnesses together? I know, a diamond on the front of a Formula One car. Williams had a mini livery for Kingsman. Oh yeah, that's very true. That is very true. But again, it wasn't a full blown like mad livery, just like one-off craziness. Like literally the Red Bull Star Wars that you shoot just had Star Wars written down the side of it like a madman.
Oh yeah, not to mention, there are of course 2 cars in a Formula 1 team, so there would be more than one of these bad boys running around that weekend, and another 3 besides on spare nose cones in case, you know, something happened. What could go wrong? Rumours abound that these diamonds, supplied by the Steinmetz Group, were not insured. Others insist that they indeed were insured against theft, damage, and loss. Some said that they weren't real diamonds, but those within the team insist that they were indeed the real deal. So, with all this in mind, the last thing that Jaguar, or in American speak, Jaguar, would want is for the drivers to be starting in the mid-pack, alongside the Giancarlo Fisichellas and the Giorgio Pantanos. But in qualifying, they would end up placing P12 and P14 on the grid, pretty much in the middle. And in Monaco, in no man's land, the Grand Prix kicked off on Sunday, and not too long thereafter, all hell broke loose. In all that melee, we can see Webber just creeping away from it all.
Monaco,
he got away with murder a little bit, but he would retire later on from the race with a lunch gearbox. But for the time being, he was safe and sound. The diamond was safe and sound. But where was his teammate? Where was Christian Klein? Given he was behind Webber at the start, and you can't pass on this track, he had to be in that mess, wouldn't he? Well, no. He was back at the Lowe's hairpin, his car smothering the barriers. It's a relatively low-speed, clumsy incident, so there was no harm to the driver. But I know what you're thinking. I mean, it's that obvious, isn't it? You're wondering about the diamond, aren't you? Well, here's the kicker. It wasn't there. It just vanished. Fairy dust, gone. Poof. It's not there. But how? I mean, how did all this happen? Well, back at Mirabeau, Klein decided to celebrate his first Monaco Grand Prix start by ramming into Nick Heifeld's gearbox. To his misfortune, this damaged the front nose cone and threw itself under the front wheels, which did somewhat disrupt the car's performance. We could be fairly confident that it did by virtue of the fact that he crashed. But where had the diamond gone? With all the publicity around it that weekend, there must have been people around the Principality just waiting for the nose cone to break off and to retrieve $250,000 worth of merchandise, you know?
It's mad that like the first lap, like he knows there is a diamond on the front of his car. Surely you just have like half a moment of thought there. Nope, into the gearbox, front wing off. It's like Kevin Magnussen all over again.
First suspects would have been the marshals who rescued Klein's errant car. Although, as easy as that may have been, this was unlikely, given that the part of the nose cone where the diamond was had already broken off before reaching the hairpin. Some theories pointed toward Klein intentionally crashing, which was just bullshit. Some continued to insist that the diamonds were not in fact real, which in and of itself may not be BS, considering the company's founder, Benny Steinmetz, had a somewhat flexible relationship with the truth. What's the likely scenario? Well, that it got swept up with the rest of the debris around the circuit, that it fell down a storm drain, that some schlub from Marseille had stumbled upon it and run off with his newfound treasure. The reality is, we'll likely never know the story, because even after almost 20 years, no one's come forward. Even fish in the Mediterranean who may have got it from that storm drain, they haven't come forward. But for Jaguar, the PR around the team was great. At least in terms of exposure for the brand. It wasn't enough to effectively deliver them new, exciting parts for the rest of the year, and as a result, the car's performance was relatively stagnant for the remainder of the year. And as a result of that, Ford pulled the plug and sold the team to Red Bull, ending their involvement in Formula 1. But if there was one positive to take...
Mad though, if he wouldn't have lost that diamond and like it would have all gone well, maybe they'd have got some extra money on the cards, maybe we wouldn't have Red Bull.
From Jaguar's last year in Formula 1, it's this. That donkey we saw at the start of the video? Well, that was won by a couple of the team's mechanics after entering a competition on the back of a soda can. After giving Donkey his worldwide tour, he was signed by almost everyone in the paddock and auctioned off for charity. Like I said, it was a really, really, really strange year. Banger of a video, as always, from Josh. Top draw.
I just, something, someone must know. Someone must know. Something inside me just can't help but believe that someone must know what happened to that diamond. Please. If you took it and you're in the chat right now, I promise I won't tell, but I just need to know. The diamond or whatever knocked off the gem, just cracked under impact due to how brittle it was, and was swept away by the rest of the debris. Maybe. Or someone got it. Someone got it and took it, and they bought a yacht with the... Can you buy a yacht for $250,000? Maybe. Probably worth more than $250,000, because you'd be like, this is the diamond. Like, on the black market, you're like, this is the diamond from the Jaguar. You know, the diamond from the Jaguar car. And people are like, that is a mystery that I do enjoy. I don't know how you prove that, though. Like, it's still in the bit of the front wing. They're like, what? Look at that. Diamond still in the front wing. Bada bing, bada boom. Obviously, like, there was 4 other diamonds. They still kept those. But the one we want to know about is still missing. Interesting. The only person that could get it was the driver or the marshal. Hey, look, I don't want to start pointing fingers. Don't want to start pointing fingers. But if there was a diamond in front of me, I'd probably take it if I'm a marshal. I'm not sure. Well, to be fair, they're living in Monaco. So probably, even if you're a marshal at Monaco, you're probably pretty well off as a human being. Antonio reckons a marshal got it. Look, if you were a marshal, you'd have a go. You'd have a go. I thought this was interesting too, just before we move on to the main kind of segment of today's stream. Orlean has been removed from the Alfa Romeo team because obviously they're becoming Audi in a couple of years, 3 years now. I think we're going to see lots of this. Then we're going to see lots of big brands, big sponsors change hands when it comes to sort of Alfa Romeo / Sauber / Audi as it kind of gets towards that time of year. Also, I've noticed that, or I found Decal Spotter, who I don't follow, but I will now. I found him recently. So good. Like one of the best, because this is interesting, because Orlean also are heavily linked to Robert Kubica. The Polish company joined the team in 2020. Does this mean Robert Kubica won't be the test driver anymore? Maybe. They've got Porsche coming through, and I feel like maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to say goodbye to Kubica, which is a real shame, because Kubica could have been so much more than he was in the end, right? Just could have been one of the greatest, maybe. Could have been talked about in the top echelons of Formula One. Still kind of is. He's kind of mentioned in passing, is Robert Kubica. But it's a shame that he never really got the opportunity to properly come back into Formula One and show what he was all about. But yeah, interesting. Orlean out. I think that means Porsche in, Kubica out for the Alfa Romeo setup next season. Although it's whether Porsche wants to be a test driver for a year. But then maybe Joe comes out, Sauber come in. Sauber, obviously. So Porsche is a Sauber driver, as opposed to like an Alfa Romeo driver or anything like that. So when they go back to being Sauber for a couple of years, maybe that's when Porsche gets his chance. A couple of years of Porsche, then Audi come in. It's very complicated at Alfa Romeo / Sauber / Audi right now, isn't it? We're gonna have 3 teams, and they're all 3 teams still for this season. Like Alfa Romeo are still there for this season, but they know that they're going to be Sauber at the end of the year. But Sauber also know that they're going to be Audi in a couple of years' time. So it's very weird. But I think Kubica's finally going to kind of step away. What was the other one? There was an interesting... Not that. Red Bull. No more Puma. No more Puma for Red Bull. I thought that was quite interesting as well. The fact they've moved away from Puma as a sponsor. Because, I don't know, I just felt like they always were going to have Puma. Isn't Porsche Ferrari reserve? Oh, is he? That would be weird if he was. Especially considering they have Schwartzman. I don't think so. I don't think Porsche is Ferrari reserve. I feel like I'd have heard about that. Porsche is competing in F2 again? Yeah, that's very true. But like you can be a reserve driver and compete in F2. That's fine. Like we saw that with Schwartzman last year for Ferrari. I know they kind of had Mick also. But Schwartzman came in and did a free practice for Ferrari, right? And he was in F2. You can go across both. Go across both. But no, I don't think Porsche is Ferrari reserve. Should we have a look? Teo Porsche. French racing driver, currently competing in the 2023 Formula 2 Championship with ART. Reigning Formula 2 vice champion, of course, came second last year. I don't think so. Oh, here's his Twitter, if there's going to be anywhere. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still Schwartzman. Teo Porsche, I should say. Formula 1 driver and believer. Oh, is he the kind of person that just puts everything on? What's this?
Pre-season, as well as being a Formula 1 reserve driver. It's going to be a busy year, but it's an amazing opportunity.
Hang on.
Hey guys, super happy to be driving in FIA Formula 2 for the 2023 season, as well as being a Formula 1 reserve driver. It's going to be a busy year, but it's an amazing opportunity. So a big thank you to ART Grand Prix, the Sauber Academy, and all my sponsors. So yeah, can't wait to start the season in Bahrain. It's coming soon, and I'm gonna give my best. Promise you guys. See you soon.
Strong hair.
Hey guys.
Strong hair is what I would say from Teo. Strong hair. Yeah, but it's definitely going to be Sauber, isn't it? Another season in Formula 2. Sauber reserve. And then he did say, I remember him saying he didn't want to do another season in Formula 2. So maybe Sauber have been able to convince him because he knows that he's going to have somewhere to go at the end of 2023. I feel like maybe they convinced him somehow or another. Don't know why I'm just scrolling through Porsches. I've lost all respect for Teo Porsche. I don't know. I feel like he'd only have done another season in Formula 2 if he was also expected or also likely to do a season or get an opportunity at Sauber. I feel like he'll definitely come in and do the junior test drives for Sauber in 2023. That makes kind of sense. Comes in, does the test drives for the team. Bro, he's retweeting like every sport. He's a big sports fan, is Teo Porsche. He likes his sports. He's that like bro meme. It's like sports. He's a big fan. All right, should we move into the main segment of today? We've watched videos. We've had a chat. We're now ready to get down to work, lads. Let's get to work, shall we? I suppose at least if you're in Formula 2, sorry, just to go to Antonio's question. I suppose if you're in Formula 2, at least you're still actively driving, right? I feel like that's what you miss out on as a test driver. You kind of get fractions of bits and pieces here and there, right? You don't get to race in the same way. You just get like testing runs here and there, free practice sessions here and there, simulation jobs here and there. You don't get like a full season still. But then maybe it's, bits and pieces. Sorry I'm late. Missed ridiculous predictions. Absolutely not. Let's delve into it, shall we? Shall we start our predicciones for the 2023 Formula One season. Let's see. The 2023 is 2023, isn't it? 2023 calendar. Ah. The 2023 calendar has finally been confirmed. 23 races locked in, signed, sealed, delivered. But as a Formula One fan, we know that sometimes the races aren't quite as spectacular as we'd maybe want them to be. So we're going to go through the 23 races that are confirmed for the 2023 season. We're going to rank them from absolute banger to don't bother watching, you know, because sometimes you just don't need to watch the race. You catch the highlights afterwards. It's on, but is it on? Or a must-watch race? That felt like a bad intro. Should we do that one more time? Let's do that one more time. Do it Matt WTF1 style, or where I just like rattle them off. This is what I do, by the way, when I record a video. I just sit here and go for just a minute beforehand. Get insight. All right, we got this, guys. We got this. Great play, great play. This sounds so scripted. I mean, it is kind of in my head to an extent. The 2023 calendar has finally been announced. It's signed, sealed, delivered. We've got 23 races locked in for the 2023 season, but some races aren't quite as great as others, and we're going to break it down for you. We're going to go through all 23 races of the 2023 season, and we're going to decide whether or not they're an absolute banger, and you just have to watch it. Book off the entire weekend, watch the free practices, the qualifying, all of it. Whether it's a must-watch, like you got to watch the race, maybe the qualifying, but anything else, don't worry too much. It's on, but is it on? Maybe it's on in the background, maybe you're doing something else, but it's still there and it's worth having a watch. Highlights only, don't worry about booking the day off, just catch the highlights at the end of the day, or don't even bother doing that, because it's just still not worth watching. That felt better. That felt better. Shall we break it down? How are we going to do this? What kind of races do we want to talk about first? It's interesting. 2023 calendar I've kind of got up in front of me. Oh, that's not going to fit on your screen in any way whatsoever. Let me zoom out a touch. Can I zoom across? No. Don't worry about it. Let me grab the list that I downloaded earlier. Should we do it in order? Should we do it in order, maybe? Seems like a thing to do in order. In order of when they come up in the season. I know that Bahrain's first, but believe it or not, I don't know the entire 2023 calendar off the top of my head. Disappointing, I know. Deep breaths. My videos aren't really scripted as such as I think about what I'm going to say and then I say it. Is that scripting? It's like scripting very, very in the moment scripting. Very in the moment scripting. Is China still missing in case anyone sneezes? Yes. Yes, it is. And it's not been replaced with anything either. They've just been like, nah, sack it off. It'll be fine. You guys are going to have to help me do this, by the way. I do not know every single race and whether or not it's going to be like the perfect race. Why is this not loading? Open for me, please. Or don't. Why not? Oh. I know what I could do. I could just do it based on ticket prices. That'd be interesting. I don't know if we could find that information. Just like every single race's ticket price confirmed. Because surely it fluctuates a bit as well. Like, depending on where you want to sit. Do we just go like top price? If you wanted to go and you're king of a country, how much would you have to pay? Ah, well. Here it is. An infinite amount, effectively. Ah, perfect. Don't worry, I own a state. Ah, excellent. And Newcastle United football team. Well, come on in. Cheapest tickets to most expensive, topping it off with Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. Vegas. Here we go. 2023 tracks. Have the list in front of me. There we go. I think I'm going to do them in calendar order. I'm going to do them in calendar order. Barcelona is an F. Brazil is an S. I agree. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that statement. Whoa. What's this? 3D paint. No, thank you. Didn't even mean to open that. I've never used that in my life. 3D paint. Interesting. All right, should we rattle them off then, lads? Let's break this down. Let's break this down. Starting off with Bahrain. First track of the calendar. I feel like, even though it's not the best Grand Prix of the season, it doesn't often deliver exceptional races, apart from 2022, where actually the battle between Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc was sensationally good. But because it's the first race and because we don't really know how all the drivers have been, it's a little bit of a catch-up race, isn't it? You get to see all the drivers again. They're all in their new cars. They've got their new race suits on. It's very nice, and I feel like it's a must-watch, but purely and simply because it's the first race of the season. If it wasn't the first race of the season, maybe a little bit lower. But I feel like first race. First race. Second race of the season, Saudi Arabia. I'm going to argue that the two Saudi Arabian races that we've had so far have been absolute bangers. But we've only had two. So it's difficult to know where Saudi Arabia really has to sit. I think it goes in absolute banger for now. It might drop down depending on how I feel about some of the other tracks a little bit later on in the year. But so far, so good for Saudi Arabia. 2 Grand Prix, one of them absolute chaos, one of them really entertaining. You can't really complain. Yeah, exactly. Just because it's the first race, I think Bahrain has to go in a must-watch. I think it just has to go in that must-watch category, doesn't it? It's usually pretty good though, because it's the first race of the season and everyone's trying to like find their feet a little bit. It's usually quite entertaining too. I think an absolute banger if the circuit actually gets nuked. Let's not talk about the climate, the international war climate. But yeah, Saudi's a good one. IMO. In my humble opinion, Saudi Arabia, absolute banger. Australia. Oh, I don't know how I feel about Australia, I think it used to be a must-watch because it was the first track of the season. Now it might be it's on, but is it on? You put it on, it's in the background, sometimes something happens, you have a little look over. You're like, ooh, that happened. And then you get back to what you were doing. It's not like an absolute sit down, watch qualifying, watch the race, make sure every single time for me. So I think it's an on, but is it on? It's there, but is it there? I'm watching it, Am I watching it? You know what I mean? Like, none of that makes any sense. Jeddah produces chaos? Exactly. Exactly. And that's why we need it. Yes, there we go. We're agreeing. We're agreeing. I'm enjoying the agreement. The agreement is good. I'm going to put some of these in the order that they come up whilst we have a chat. Azerbaijan is next, you know. I might need your help with Azerbaijan. Where do we put Azerbaijan? Baku. It's usually alright, isn't it, Baku? Generally speaking. Usually alright. Austria's before Great Britain, isn't it? Yep. Then Hungary, yep. Then Belgium, yep. Netherlands, yep. Monza, yep. Singapore, Japan. Oh, Qatar, yes. USA, Mexico, Brazil, Vegas, Abu Dhabi. Perfect. Right, I've got these in the right order now. In front of me. So we can go. You think Baku is a bit mid? Oh, you think? Or is that Australia? Josh replies to me again. Baku or Australia is a bit mid. I think Baku might be a must-watch. Yeah. The sprint. That's true. I think Baku might be a must-watch. Let's see. Azerbaijan, what do we do with Azerbaijan? I feel like it does indeed go in a must-watch. It goes in a must-watch because of the sprint race that is coming up this year, and because it usually does deliver some kind of drama, whether or not it's a Max Verstappen crash, whether or not it's a Ferrari falling apart. It usually adds a little bit of something and something. A something of something in Baku. Last year, Baku was a snooze race. But Baku is one of my favourites. It's chaotic. I think Baku just has this aura about it, especially it being a street circuit. You usually get a little bit of a weird podium in Baku. Just a little bit of a weird podium in Baku, which is always entertaining. When you have someone up there that shouldn't really be up there. Miami. Mi amor. Miami. How about a not applicable Formula 1 GP held in an Asda car park? You could have a VIP trolley pod tickets. Sell for 10 grand. General admission 2 grand. I feel like you've priced yourself out just a touch. Also, like, trolleys just ain't my bag. Why don't we just hire a kart track? That'd be interesting. Like, that'd be more fun, wouldn't it? Miami, though. We're up to Miami. Miami might be a highlights only, you know. Miami might be a highlights only. Maybe even a don't bother. Is it the first don't bother? Miami is an interesting one because the spectacle around it, like the drivers coming into Miami will be having a great time. They'll be partying. They'll be dancing. There'll be a stage of some kind that the drivers will be on. It'll be an interesting watch. But then when it gets to the race, it probably actually won't be that good. I'm going to put it highlights only. Highlights only for Miami. Maybe if they make a few changes to the track, it could go a little bit higher in the future. But as it stands right now, it's a highlights only. Imola is always good. Imola has different weather conditions. It generally rains in Imola. And Lando Norris is on the podium. Is it just on? Must watch? I'm going to put it on. It's on, but is it on? For now. But I could see Imola going a little bit higher. I could see Imola going a little bit higher if I change my mind later on down the line. Miami's a don't bother. Yeah, Miami's highlights only. Don't bother. Oh, sorry, I completely misread that, Josh. Don't bother. Just boring to watch. Highlights only for me. No chaos. Not much overtaking. With any real intensity coming from the Norris crash. That's true. No. Well, yeah, obviously, like, I actually do watch all of the races. But this is for the general Formula 1 fan, you know. People who don't have the weekends off. Are you gonna book the day off to watch it? If you worked at the weekend, would you book the day off? That's what I'm kind of going for, Bentley. You gotta think. Would you book the day off? Would you book the weekend off? Like, would you book the weekend off? Would you book the day off? Would you just kind of have it on whilst you're doing other things? Or would you just wait until you got home, watch the highlights? Or would you just not bother at all? You just wait until next week's race where they do a little recap at the start and you'd be like, oh yeah, that happened, okay. Look at the Drivers' Championship and be like, oh, someone won. That's pretty good. They can have DRS trains in Imola. Yeah, that's very true. I'll put it on. It's on. But is it on? You know. I mean, I can do another take for you if you want me to talk about the DRS trains. Nah, I think it's fine. We'll do another take. We'll talk about the DRS trains for you, Josh. Just for you. Imola's an interesting one for me because Imola, you have the mixed weather conditions. You have a little bit of kind of DRS trains going on though as well. But Lando Norris also gets on the podium in Imola. I feel like it's on, but is it on kind of vibe for me. It's probably a little bit drizzly in Imola. There's maybe a red flag stoppage at some point in the qualifying or in the race. It's on, but is it on? There you go, Josh. I mentioned the DRS trains. Did you enjoy that take? It's like having a director. Did the boys of the gallery like that one? Boys in the excellent. Cheers, lads. Moving on to the next one. It's not a difficult one for me. Monaco. What can we say about Monaco? Just don't bother. It's basically a parade. It's not a race at this point in Formula One. I know last year was actually pretty good, but that's only because it turned into some kind of monsoon season for the Monaco Grand Prix, and Sergio Perez winning was very entertaining. But overall, the Monaco track just doesn't quite work when it comes to Formula One anymore. The cars are too long, they're too wide, and the street circuit's too narrow. Don't bother watching Monaco. Just, you'll find out about it because it's Monaco. Boom. It's broken. Yeah, broken Lando Norris. I do love a Lando. I do love a Lando. Hence the cap and the thing. I need something to like fill up the space above. You know what I mean? I need something to go like at the back of the shelf to kind of give it a bit of a va-va-voom. Don't know why I keep saying that. I haven't watched that advert. I think it's like for a Citroen from Thierry Henry in like 2001. But keeps me entertained. Monaco's great for quali at least. Is it? Is it? Yeah, maybe. Usually it ends with someone in the wall is the problem in quali. Like, usually it ends with, they get pole. Why? Because someone's crashed and we can't be bothered to do the last 6 minutes. There is a good chance of rain, even as chaos. Stroll camera angle replays enough to make it an absolute bang. Yeah, that's true. The Stroll camera take is still one of the best things to come out of Monaco ever, I think, yeah. It's outdated, but quality is very nice to watch. How do we feel about Spain? Does Spain just go in don't bother as well? I feel like Spain just goes in don't bother as well, doesn't it? Because, like, it's so dull. It's so dull a lot of the time. They do so much testing in Spain as well. Like, as in sim testing. I think I was talking... sorry, just like punched myself in the chest. In the thigh. I was talking to one of the guys that kind of works in one of the Formula One factories that I know, and they do a lot of their like testing based around the Spain track. I don't really know why. I assume it's because it's just like a very all-rounder track. It has a straight, has a few kind of high-speed corners, has a few low-speed corners. It's just like a good generic Formula One track, I think, in Spain. And therefore, they do loads of testing for Spain. So the drivers just know it almost too well. On top of that is just like, as I said, because it's kind of an all-rounder circuit, it doesn't suit anyone in particular. So you don't really get any crazy happenings. I don't know. Spain for me, not great. Spain's removing the final chicane, so it might be a little bit better. Spain deserves to be lower tier than Spain. What? Oh, I'm assuming that meant the Monaco. At least Monaco has quality to watch. Yeah, that's very true. Spain, though, you know, you can have 2 weeks off in a row, basically. Monaco, back-to-back with Spain, is snooze fest, followed by pretty much snooze fest. Spain is one of those tracks that the drivers just know, if anything, a little too well. They do a lot of testing in Spain. It's a good all-rounder circuit, but because it's also a good all-rounder circuit, it doesn't really suit anyone in particular. It's a don't bother, have a couple of weeks off, and come back for the next Grand Prix. Which is Canada. And Canada, in my mind, has to go in absolute banger. But I feel like for the generic Formula One fan who isn't biased around the Canadian Grand Prix and the links to that Grand Prix that Jenson Button won back in the day, I think it goes in must watch. It usually delivers a very entertaining Grand Prix. And I'm going to put Canada in must watch. But again, might go a little bit higher. Might go into absolute banger. Might go into it's on, but is it on? Depending on how you kind of feel about the track. Sorry, I had a few vodka and cakes. What is this? Monaco is a great example of how posh Formula One has begun. Hence the high admission prices. Sector 3 completely ruined Spain like Mexico. Yeah, it's very true. It's that final bit, isn't it? Five, six, seven, eight, nine. Oh wow, we're making good headway. We're up to track 10 already. Austria. I quite like Austria. Overall, as a thing. Do you think Monaco highlights only? God, people don't like that. I'm really not a fan of Monaco. Canada is an absolute banger. Last year, Latifi crashed into the Wall of Champions, enough to make an old man cry. Yeah, Yuki Tsunoda also crashed coming out of the pits. It is usually a good race, Canada, but I feel like there's other bangers coming. So I'm kind of leaving myself a little bit of wiggle room, if I'm honest. Banger. For Canada, I'm assuming. Austria must watch the banger. I think Austria goes in must watch for me. Austria GOAT tier. I think it's just a little too short. Lots of traffic in Austria. Austria, for me, is one of the most entertaining tracks on the calendar. Obviously, the fact that it's the Red Bull Ring is a little bit annoying, but it usually does deliver quite a good race. It usually delivers a little bit of pain for one of the Red Bull drivers, or both, in some circumstances as well. We had Carlos Sainz on fire. I think it goes in a must-watch for Austria. I think if it was like a tiny little bit longer, I like the fact that it's the shortest track on the calendar because we get so much chaos when it comes to qualifying, but I also feel like because we then have the sprint race, it kind of resets anyway in terms of those qualifying positions. And then because it is such a short track, the traffic is just crazy, especially for those top cars towards the end of the Grand Prix. So they can't really overtake one another because they're too busy overtaking Nicholas Latifi. It goes in must watch. Make it banger. Okay. I can do another take. If you want it banger. If you want it banger. Are you sure, though? Are you sure? Because we got, like, Silverstone coming up. We got Brazil coming up. All right. Look. I can accept when we're wrong. I can accept when I'm wrong. I appreciate it. I can accept when I'm wrong. It's going in banger. We'll do a second take. You guys will know. People who watch the video that comes out later on in the week, you'll be in the comment section like, he didn't put that in banger, though. He didn't put that in banger. He's lying. He's lying. I saw him, and he didn't put that in banger. They just send a link to this section of the stream. Like, he just did not put that in banger. I'm telling you right now. Austria's Lando's best track. Josh, you've swayed me. Josh, you've swayed me. I don't know. I don't know if it's his best track. Is it his best track? It's up there, to be fair. Austria has Zandvoort type atmosphere. Incredible track for racing. Might be better than Brazil. Wow. Better than Brazil. 7 or 7. You have lost your little head. All right. All right. I'll accept when I'm wrong. I'll accept when I'm wrong. Austria is probably one of the best tracks on the calendar. It's so little. It's so short. It's so good, though. It just delivers in every single way possible. It has to be an absolute banger. The Red Bull Ring, the Max Verstappen crowd is in absolute full force. The incredible atmosphere that you have. Also, the traffic, it does add a little bit to qualifying when everybody is trying to do a lap, but everybody is also within 5 millimeters of each other because the lap is so incredibly short. It does mean a lot of back marker passing towards the end of the Grand Prix, but we'll put it in absolute banger. It is a top draw track. I've been overruled. I did a second take. It's fine. It's fine. But we're going like banger after banger after banger now. Because Silverstone and Hungary are also bangers. Also bangers. I'm not faking it the first time. I'm not faking it. I've been swayed. I feel like I didn't really think about Austria too much. It's one of those races that kind of just passes me by, maybe. But I've been overruled. We're there. You'll know, but the people won't know. You know. Keep to yourself. Secret. We're friends now, you know. You guys that are here on the Fridays, you get the inside. You get the inside knowledge. You get that little extra bit. You get to know that I'm actually a little bit of a moron. 98% of the time. It's fine. Talking of bangers, though, if we're putting Austria in banger, Silverstone goes to banger of the bangers, basically. It is a top level track. Always delivers drama. Always delivers good racing. Just think, Lewis Hamilton crashing into Max Verstappen. That was drama galore. Lewis Hamilton doing that double overtake last year was sensational in Silverstone. It is just the best track. No, it's not. No, I'm going to redo that. It's not the best track because I'm going to say that later on about Brazil. Just lying to myself. Lying. Silverstone's definitely don't bother. Yeah, you've never watched a Silverstone Grand Prix in your life. In your life? Talking of bangers, if Austria is a banger, Silverstone is an absolute banger. It was by far and away like top 3 Grand Prix every single season. It comes to the end of the year and they do those fan votes of what was your favorite Grand Prix this year. Silverstone is always up there and it always has drama as well. Whether it's the Joe crash, whether it's the Max Verstappen crash, something happens at Silverstone which has an impact on the rest of the season. And I absolutely love it. It's my home Grand Prix as well. It goes in absolute banger. 3 words, though. Goes Hamilton. Oh, yeah, I didn't mention the Hamilton thing. Second take there. But, you know. Silverstone is Sainz home turf. Sainz win, yeah. Absolutely love. I love Silverstone. Every single year, I love Silverstone. It's just well expensive. More expensive to go to Silverstone than to fly to a European Grand Prix. Like, I could go to Monza or Spa or Hungary for less than driving to Silverstone. Is that not mad? I can fly from Norwich to another country, stay in a hotel for an entire weekend, and it costs less than driving to Silverstone to watch the Grand Prix. Mad. Just silly. Silly money. Unfortunately in the UK. But there we are. And you know what? The bangers don't stop there. The bangers certainly do not stop at Silverstone, because after Austria, after Silverstone, you've got the Hungary Grand Prix, and Hungary is always an absolute banger as well. Just think back a couple of years ago, Esteban Ocon's maiden victory in Formula One amongst the chaos. Lewis Hamilton starting a Grand Prix all by himself. Hungary is so good. Am I a little bit biased because I've been to the Hungaroring? Yes, but for me, it is an absolute banger, a must watch. It's on, but is it on? It's everything that I need about Formula One. Hungary is the best. That is pure madness. Any Euro race for cheaper than the US races, that's mental, as long as you live in the US. Otherwise, otherwise that would be very, very obvious. Must watch for a Hungary. No. Although I am biased when it comes to Hungary. Hungary definitely goes up a tier for me. I'm not throwing this one away. Not throwing this one away. Hungary goes there. Spa. Spa's an interesting one. Spa's a must watch, isn't it? Spa's a must watch. We're running out of space. How many? Right. So there's 25 spaces, right? Because it goes 5 across, 5 down. 23 Grand Prix. So we're gonna have to start filling up some of this area. Hungary without weather can be kind of dead. Nope. Don't agree. Nope. One of my favorite tracks. My favorite track. Second favorite track. Favorite race. Second favorite track. Must watch. I'm not budging on Hungary. I budged on Austria. I'm not budging on Hungary. Spa. What do we think about Spa? Let's talk Spa. Because Spa is probably your favorite. I feel like it goes in must watch. For me. I think Spa goes in a must watch. Gonna have to move Imola down. Yeah, might do, to be fair. Might do. US base. Cheaper to fly to Europe than go to a US race. That is disgusting. That is disgusting. Spa go here. Spa go here. Any qualms? Any queries? Any arguments? You've noticed before that I can be swayed. Might be it's on, but is it on? Let's have a think. Monza. Brazil goes up here. Monza goes up here. Singapore goes up here. Japan. Yeah, it might be in it's on, but is it on? Spa's a banger, unless it gets washed. This quality is usually a spectacle. I'm going to go for the slightly negative approach to Spa. I think I'm going to go, it's on, but is it on? If it's 2021, for sure, don't bother. Else it's on. I would be happy with must watch. Spa's on the borderline for me. It's on the borderline between must watch and it's on, but is it on? Just thinking about other tracks that are coming up in comparison. You know what? We'll put Spa on in must watch. I think it goes in must watch. But then Zandvoort is afterwards, and that's got to go down here somewhere. Zandvoort is afterwards, and that's got to go down. Yeah, above Imola. Spa's above Imola, but like, is it above Imola enough to be a rank above Imola? Spa, this is going to be probably a controversial one, to be honest with you, because I know that Spa is loved. It's one of those Formula One tracks that just screams Formula One to me. And therefore, I think it's a must watch. I think it's a must watch. It's definitely edging towards absolute banger sometimes, but then also sometimes the weather can be a little bit of a burden for Spa, like 2021 when it just rained and rained and rained. Nikita Mazepin did get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. That was then snatched away from him quite entertainingly, but you know, it sometimes when it rains too hard ruins Formula One, and therefore it's only a must watch, but it could be a banger if the rain isn't too bad. I think it goes there. Zandvoort. Is it in highlights only just for the the crowd. Basically, highlights only because the crowd is going to be wild, like absolutely wild. Maybe. I think Zandvoort goes here for me. Why not? Why not? On track. Hello, mate. How are you? Been a long time. Well, it's been a long time just because I don't really know what happened. I feel like I lost my life. I lost all of the ways of what was happening. Hello, mate. Banger. Zandvoort. Eh? Eh? Are you lost? No way. No way. Netherlands goes in banger. Zero chance. It's bottom tier. Yeah, it's so boring. Nothing happens. The McLaren Orange Army. Nothing happens. The track is amazing. The track is amazing, but the race is so dull. So boring. Why would you bother watching? If you love the track, drive it on the simulator. Like I actually love the Bahrain track. I think it's one of the best to drive. But Indy vibes, midfield cars, big chance to overtake, banger. Oh god, people are very polarized on Zandvoort. For me, it's going to go in highlights only, I think. For me, it's going to go in highlights only. Then we move across to the Netherlands, the home of Max Verstappen. The Orange Army is out in full force. And even as a McLaren fan and all the orange that is around, I think it goes towards the bottom of this tier list. For me, it's going to be a highlights only. The track itself is beautiful and it's such a spectacle in terms of the atmosphere, but the race is just a little bit dull. P.S. It's amazing. It is amazing. By the way, you guys will all be in the Formula One, like the video with a chat. What you see on screen right now will just be the video. That's kind of the approach I'm trying to take to these videos a little bit. Just letting you know. So if you want to, I probably shouldn't have let you know that because now you're just going to write something obscene. I'm gonna have to like blur out a tiny little bit of the chat. Oh dear. Oh well. Monza, the home of the Tifosi, the home of Ferrari, arguably one of the homes of Formula One. I think it's a must-watch. Again, usually delivers something a little bit special. When we go to Monza, something happens. And of course, it is always nice to see all the Ferrari fans out in full force. It's maybe one of the more boring tracks if you actually look at the setup of it, but it delivers good racing. So, can't really argue with it. Singapore. Singapore. Not a Max fan, but Zandvoort is amazing. It's so dull, man. It's a bit boring. Singapore, lads. I don't want to be biased. About Singapore, so I need your help. I need your help. As a Formula One fan, how do you feel about Singapore? Because for me, it's an absolute banger because I just love it. But, I don't know. Monza is highlights only? No. It's Monza. It's had Pierre win. It's had Leclerc win. No, you can't have Monza any lower than must watch. Just for the Ferrari atmosphere. Singapore around Bahrain. I think Bahrain gets an extra bump because it's the first race though. I think Bahrain, if it wasn't the first race of the season, wouldn't be in must watch. So you're saying that Singapore goes, it's on, but is it on? Singapore is an absolute banger. Always something going on. Zandvoort better than Monza. In what world? In what world? As a track, maybe. As a race, like a race weekend, you've got to watch free practice. You've got to watch quali. You've got to watch the race. And obviously the sprint, if there's a sprint in there. You've got to watch the whole thing. Is it going to be a banger? Zandvoort, no. Bahrain is usually incredible. Yeah, but it's only incredible because it's the first race of the season. It's like recency bias, but it's the opposite. Whatever, because you've missed Formula One for 4 months, and it comes back, and you're like, oof. Now, Zandvoort better than Monza is a hot take that I don't agree with. That I don't agree. I do agree or don't agree. As in, you agree with me or you don't? Oh, I'm going into existential crisis all of a sudden. I don't know who's agreeing with me and who's not. I don't know who my friends are anymore. All right, Singapore. I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to put it in. It's on Brazil. Monza is crap. Oh my god. We try. Is this an Austria moment again? Is this an Austria moment where I've just clearly put it in the wrong tier list? Have I clearly just put it in the wrong place? Maybe. But sometimes we make mistakes as people. Sometimes we have to just accept that. I like Monza. All right, where? No, I'm not going to move Monza. I'm not going to move Monza. There's always a second. Yeah, I know. Should we think about it though? Like a lot of the races coming up are a bit meh. The end of the season is always a bit meh. Singapore and Japan are pretty good. Then we've got Qatar, which I don't think is going to be great. US, pretty good. Mexico, no. Brazil, absolute banger. Las Vegas, no. Abu Dhabi, no. So, Monza is good. Italian track. Everyone should hate Imola. Imola's alright. Imola's alright. It's not as good as Monza. I agree. Hence the gap. Singapore is next after Monza. We go back to the Asia. No, the Asia? The Asia. We go back to the Asia. There is only one, to be fair. All right, Singapore comes after Monza. And I'm going to try not to be biased. Obviously, I love Singapore. I've literally got a track of it on my wall. But in terms of an overall Grand Prix, am I going to watch the entire weekend? Yes. Am I just going to kind of have it on in the background at points? Yes, I think so. I think Singapore goes in. It's on, but is it on? And that's me trying to be as little biased as I possibly can be. Japan, though. Japan's a must-watch, isn't it? Japan is a must-watch. Japan's the driver's track. Japan is every Formula One driver's favorite track. And I think that just makes it entertaining. Because the drivers love it so much. It kind of keeps the entertainment going. Japan is up next. And to be fair, Japan is probably the Formula One driver's favorite track, right? Japan is like the driver's track of choice. You know, Sebastian Vettel goes on about Japan so much. He absolutely loves it. And I think I love it too. I think Japan is a must-watch. I think Japan is a must-watch race every single year. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. We've been doing this for like 43 minutes, by the way. That's why it's taking its toll. Japan's a banger. I'm close to putting it in banger. I think it goes in must-watch, though. Say highlights only for Japan. I can meet you in the middle. The TV turning the wrong way was amazing. And it's back up to the top. 6 a.m. UK start. Yeah, but we can't be that biased. I'm going to mention it, though. That's a good point, which I'm going to mention. After Singapore... we got it. After Singapore comes Japan. And for me, Japan is one of those tracks that maybe the Formula One fans don't love too much, but the Formula One drivers absolutely adore. Sebastian Vettel goes on about Japan like it is his favorite thing to do on the entire planet. I don't know, though, in terms of the racing, it's pretty tricky to get behind Japan sometimes. Plus, a little bit of bias here. As somebody in the UK, 6 a.m. getting up for Japan when it then rained for 2 hours and we only got half of a Grand Prix. It's somewhere between it's on, but is it on, and must watch. For Sebastian Vettel, because he's not in Formula One anymore, I'm going to put it in a must watch. But Japan needs to deliver in this 2023 season, or it could drop down a couple of tiers for me. Latifi turning the wrong way. Tend to watch it in the morning. Yeah, I think just Japan when it's on is a little bit rough. But I'm going to put it in must watch for Sebastian Vettel. What do we think about Qatar? What do we think about Qatar? Love Yas Marina. Okay. I mean, me too. But I know I've put these in the wrong order now because I was just clicking. US, Mexico, Brazil. Yeah, cool, cool. Cool, 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 cool. I get up at that time for every race bar like 5. You're a hero. You're a hero. I'll give you that 707. You're an absolute hero. Japan cannot be lower than Monza. That's a good point. I feel like they're equitable. Qatar, sick face. Highlights only? I don't know if it's a... I don't think it's a don't bother. Qatar is a chest infection. Wow, okay. Is Qatar not bother? I was going to put it in highlights only, I think. But, I mean, we can put it in and not bother. May get more attention due to the World Cup being there. I mean, it's done now. The World Cup's over, right? World Cup's done and dusted. Must watch, you say? Drivers will struggle with tyre deg, and the sprint should make things interesting. I was going to put it in highlights. Highlights only, I think. I just don't think it would be as good as, like, Australia or Singapore. And I think it would be similar to Miami. Possibly. Nuke it. Like, McLaren Formula 1. You gotta stop nuking things. Gotta stop nuking things. Alright? Qatar is an interesting one for me. It's obviously going to be interesting to see what Qatar is like now that the Formula One... No. We're getting there. We're getting there. Qatar is an interesting one for me because it's obviously come back onto the Formula One calendar now, but it'd be interesting to see what Qatar is actually like now that it's had the FIFA World Cup, whether or not Lionel Messi will come and do a podium ceremony. That would be exceptional to see. But I think it sits in highlights only. And then depending on how good it is this year, it might bump up over the next couple. Such a bland track. Thank you. We'll take that. Austin. It's on, but is it on? Yeah. In terms of the American tracks, Austin is definitely still the one. I know that we've got 3 on the calendar now, but Austin is still by far and away my favorite of the American tracks. We'll have to kind of see what Miami and Las Vegas can deliver over the next few years, but Austin just feels like a racetrack. It feels like Formula One in America. For me, it's one of those ones that I put on. It's on in the background. I'm maybe doing some other little bits and pieces, but it's well worth just tuning in for Austin. And usually, like last year, we saw lots of rookies take part in free practice sessions. So even FP1 in Austin's pretty good too. Austin, because the national anthem is always a meme. Yeah. Kota is a must watch, you say? Do you think? I think it's all right. Am I being a bit harsh? I'm looking at the must watches though. Canada, Spa. I prefer them. Top three race last year. Had so much personality. And if he gets a chance. All right. No, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna go with my heart. I'm gonna go with my heart when it comes to Austin. I'm gonna go with my heart. Mexico. Interesting. It'd be less interesting without Daniel Ricciardo. That is true. That is true. There's no Daniel Ricciardo in a cowboy hat anymore, so not worth watching. Mexico is up next, and even though we get the Mexican Formula One anthem, we get Sergio Perez and his dad, more importantly, at the track, I think it's a don't bother. It's that final chicane. The baseball stadium makes Mexico what it is, has that incredible atmosphere, but also just kills the lap and means that nobody can carry any momentum throughout the race. Yeah, Mexico for me, it's a don't bother. Just watch the various bits and pieces going on behind the scenes. Watch Sergio Perez on the podium, watch Sergio Perez's dad on the podium, and that's all you really need to see. Las Vegas would be the most interesting. I think Las Vegas can go in here, maybe. Or in here. Yeah, don't bother here. Don't bother here, Mexico. You just watch Sergio Perez's dad, and you're like, he's having a great time. Bless him. What a lovely lad. Brazil. I've said it once. I will say it again. Brazil always delivers. For me, it should still be the final race on the calendar. It's by far and away the best race of every single Formula One season, I would argue. It's sensational. It's the best race on the calendar. It always delivers. I'm going to repeat myself because you need to know it always delivers. Brazil, absolute banger every single time. Best track aesthetically. Yeah, that's very true. I'm trolling at this stage. Early breaking into that sharp apex, yeah, and smashing into the side of Yuki Tsunoda. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Brazil is by far and away the best track on the entire calendar pretty much every single season. Brazil just has everything. It has atmosphere. It has an incredible circuit. It has overtaking opportunities. It is just a wonderful circuit to have on the Formula One calendar and an absolute banger every single time. Sao Paulo GOAT. Yeah, probably the best track. Probably, like, could be a tier above. Like could be top absolute banger tier, right? Just could be exceptionally good. Las Vegas is going to be interesting. I think it's one of those tracks. It doesn't look like it's going to be super entertaining in terms of just the layout of the track, but actually, because it's the first Grand Prix in Las Vegas, maybe it's an on, but is it on? It could end up being a highlights only. It could end up being like Saudi Arabia, where we all thought it wasn't going to be great, and then it became one of the absolute bangers of the season. I feel like it goes on, it's on, but is it on? Just for this year, and if it's terrible, it'll drop down very quickly. If you don't like Brazil, you're not a Formula One fan. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Las Vegas, absolute banger. I had 3 home Grand Prix. Rest in peace, India. Oh, India was a good track. India might come back at some point. Feel like they could be in the mix one way or another. Abu Dhabi, don't bother, right? Oh, wait. Oh, no. Secure outer layout with walls. Sounds like a decent fun track. I think it goes in the middle. We'll kind of see. I'm going to hold this. Last but not least, the 23rd of 23 races, Abu Dhabi. Unfortunately, it's just one of those tracks that just don't bother. Usually the season is finished. Usually everyone can't really be bothered. Most of the championships have been won. Most of the points have been decided. And therefore, it's just a don't bother. It's a bit dull. 99% of the time. All right, 2021, I'll give you that one. But the rest of the time, it's a don't bother for me. Bada bing. Sprint race in Jeddah, I'm down for it. I think it's going to be very, 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 very fun. Very, 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 very fun. I like sprint races. I feel like I'm in a slight minority there. Maybe I just like Formula 1. I think I just like Formula 1. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah, give me more of that. Give me more of that. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, my definitive list of which Grand Prix you should absolutely book the weekend off. Watch free practices, watch the qualifying, watch the sprint if there is one, watch the entire race, watch all the highlights afterwards as well in the absolute banger category. Working our way down to your Monacos, your Spains. Wait, just don't worry about it. If you miss it, you'll be okay. Don't worry, you're not going to miss anything too exciting. But this is my definitive list. I'd love to know what I'd love to know what your list would look like. I'm going to leave a link to this tier list in the... I'd love to know what your list would look like, though. I'm going to leave a link to this tier list in the comments down below. Feel free to send them to... Mate, what is going on? I'd love to know what your tier list looks like, though. Leave a... Oh, my God. I'd love to know what your tier list looks like, though. I'm going to leave a link to this tier list in the comments down below. I'd love you to make one. Send it to me on Twitter. Send it to me on Instagram. I'm going to try and compile a few of the fan ones and kind of see where people are at. See how many people agree with my list. I feel like there's a couple of controversial ones in there. If you haven't already, leave a like on this video, of course. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I will see you next time. We did it, lads. We did it, lads. Might record a new intro and outro for that, but we did it. Still say Monza's been overrated. Hey, look. Hey, look. Can I send... Can I... download that quick. Okay. Can I go back on this? Where is... Share? Share on Twitter. Oh, wait, you can still see this. Let's just hide this for a sec. Oh, wrong one. Let me get the link for it. Here you go. Here you go. Here's the link for you lot. Let me know if that comes through. Honestly, I'm genuinely interested to see what you guys would say. But yeah, bing me over. If you do your tier list and then bing me over what yours looks like. I would love to see. I feel like it's going to look different to mine, isn't it? It's going to look different to mine. I would flip my tier list. All the boring tracks in top tier. Hey, look. Some people like Formula 1 for different reasons. Maybe you like a boring race. I'm here for the action. Here for the wheel to wheel. Wheel to wheel is what I'm looking for. Right, lads. That is our Friday night stream coming to a close. Any final business? Any final bits and pieces? I'm looking forward to actually when I've got a weekend more free and I can end one of these streams with a little bit of racing against you lot. We'll do some PS5. You got a PS5? We're gonna do some lobby races. I think would be very, very fun. But I appreciate all of your help, lads, and I appreciate all of you stopping by. And thank you very much for helping with that video that we have recorded. Also, thanks for just everything. You're always lovely, lovely people, you know. I cannot wait for the 2023 season to start. I feel like this season is the season. This season's the one. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling optimistic. Just about everything. I'm just feeling optimistic in general about 2023. This year's our year. I truly believe that. And I hope that you believe it too. Because you should. Honestly made my day. Thanks for the stream. We'll be back again next Friday. I want to do these streams more regularly, but I feel like just getting into the routine of definitely doing every Friday is the one. Obviously, we'll still do the race streams, still do the quali streams, but I'd quite like to do maybe a Friday, Sunday. Like, even if there's not a race on, still doing a Sunday stream. I think that could be a thing down the line. I'll keep you posted. But I'm going to leave you now because I do have to disappear. We've been live for 2.5 hours. You've had a 12th of my day. And 8 hours of that is asleep. So you've had an 1/8 of my day. More than. Lewis, 8-time world champion. You heard it here first. I didn't say it. I said Lando Norris, world champion. McLaren, back to the top. Oscar Piastri, second in the championship in his rookie year. The scenes.